Everyone, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And before you, are any additions, deletions, or modifications to the agenda? All right, hearing none, is there a motion?
Motion to accept the agenda as is.
Motion and second, any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, presentation and proclamations.
Okay, the first proclamation is the proclamation declaring 2026 as the year of the orchid. Whereas the town of Ocean Ridge is enriched by the natural beauty of its coastlines, gardens, and green spaces, which reflect the care and commitment of its residents to environmental stewardship and horticultural excellence. And whereas the Ocean Ridge Garden Club, founded in 1966, has dedicated 60 years to the beautification and preservation of the town's native and cultivated landscapes through service, education, and volunteerism. And whereas throughout its history, the Ocean Ridge Garden Club has fostered community spirit, environmental awareness, and sustainable gardening practices that align with the values and vision of the town. And whereas as part of its celebration of its 60th anniversary, the Ocean Ridge Garden Club will publish Orchids by the Sea, Nurturing Orchids on South Florida Barrier Islands, in association with Pine Jog Environmental Education Center at Florida Atlantic University, a booklet highlighting the importance, care, and joy of cultivating Florida native orchids in a seaside environment. And whereas the orchid, the flower of remarkable diversity and beauty, symbolizes refinement, strength, and the harmony between nature and community that the Ocean Ridge Garden Club exemplifies. And whereas the Town Commission of the Town of Ocean Ridge, Florida, wish to honor the contributions of the Ocean Ridge Garden Club and recognize 2026 as a year of appreciation for their continued efforts to preserve and enhance the town's natural charm. Now, therefore, I, Jeff Pugh, Mayor of the Town of Ocean Ridge, on behalf of the Town Commission and the entire Ocean Ridge community, do hereby proclaim that the Town Commission hereby declares the year 2026 as the year of the orchid in the Town of Ocean Ridge, and that this designation honors the Ocean Ridge Garden Club for 60 years of committed service to the beautification and conservation of the town's environment, and that all residents and visitors are encouraged to join in celebrating the legacy of the Ocean Ridge Garden Club and to participate in community gardening and educational events inspired the theme of orchids throughout 2026.
Okay, who's here to accept the proclamation?
Wow.
Very nice, beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally. That's so nice.
Thank you very much.
Oh, nice. Thank you. My
That's all.
favorite. Okay.
My shake team.
Yeah.
Who's shooting up there?
The Ocean Club, that's our staple of our town. The weekly appreciate it.
Maybe has something more. Thank you. Public works. Well, the native orchids, a demonstration and a community event on March 18th here at Town Hall at 5 p.m. The temple all come and we really talk about native orchids. This is FAU to talk about cultivating and caring for native orchids and on Barrier Island, which is a unique position that we're in, and we're gonna be the authors. And
Wow.
it's gonna be a great event. And we put a number here, right, Town Hall.
That's all.
That's right. And then we put a number in, it's the Ocean Ridge Yacht Club. And then after this event, we're hoping that a number of different homeowners associations and community members will.
Thanks for the book.
Yeah, and their homes and their communities.
Thank you.
Bet, I'm happy to break something up for you.
All right, I want everybody on time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Chief,
So. It's been my great honor to honor him with a life-saving award. On November 23rd at approximately 9:35 hours, Officer Byline was dispatched to a medical emergency involving a cyclist. Once he was on scene within a minute and immediately assessed the patient, obtaining pulse and noted severely labored breathing. While managing this medical emergency, he simultaneously began rapid on scene investigation. He instructed bystanders not to move the patient, asked critical questions to gather information, and began coordinating with responding officers. Recognizing the patient's compromised breathing, Officer Pylon began to administer oxygen while another officer counted respirations. Officer Pylon maintained control of the medical care, provided continuous oxygen, and attempted to verbally comfort the patient until a point in fire rescue could arrive. He was transported to Delray as a trauma alert. During the chaotic nature of the scene, Officer Pylon conducted a thorough investigation, collected witness statements, securing evidence, photographing the scene. Through witness interviews, he learned that the patient had clipped the rear of another cyclist and was thrown forward onto the pavement. While examining the patient's helmet, Officer Pylon discovered it had cracked completely through the outer shell and the foam insulator, indicating a violent impact. The severity of the head injury rendered the patient unconscious, immediately snoring as a sign of neurological trauma. Recognizing the seriousness of the situation, he generated information for report and then followed up on his day off. Follow-up revealed the patient had sustained a severe concussion and significant brain bleed. The patient was hospitalized but in stable condition. And on December 5th, I was here. We did not know they were coming. His wife and he came to the station to personally thank Officer Pylon, and she credited him with saving her husband's life. And he still has a little memory loss, but with his quick response and your skills as a paramedic, they credit you. I mean, he credited you with saving his life. Wow. Thank you, Tammy.
thank you, Jimmy.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, go to the announcements, Kelly.
All right, the meeting schedule for the next month is as follows. The next regular town commission meeting will be on Monday, February 2nd at 6 p.m. The next code enforcement hearing will be Tuesday, February 3rd at 10 a.m. The next planning and zoning board meeting will be on Tuesday, January 20th at 9 a.m. And all meetings are held in the commission chambers at Town Hall. Town Hall will be closed Monday, January 19th in observance of the Martin Luther King Jr. Day holiday. And any residents who wish to sign up and receive important town notifications and news through Civic Ready should sign up on the town's website or call Town Hall for assistance.
All right, public comment.
Terry Brown, Harbor Drive South. I'm going to ask you to consider a proclamation when I'm finished talking. And it has to do with the linear park. Most people, I think most people in town know that we have such a thing as a linear park. And it's called a linear park because it's long and narrow rather than wide. And it came about when the Ocean Ridge Yacht Club Annex was platted. And they, the developer Ernie Veracruz, yeah, okay, you got it right, came to the town and asked, this was many years ago, to abandon a portion of Chickasaw so that he could combine the properties together with the actual one that already existed, the yacht club itself. And that would block off the access to the intercoastal, the pathway that people had to get to the intercoastal. And there was a citizen who spoke against that, who was pretty strong in her opinions that access to the intercoastal should not be blocked. And so they came up with, and Ken Khalil, I think, was the mayor at the time. They came up with an idea with the developer, which basically is the side setbacks and the east side and the south side setbacks. They put in the plat a linear park and kept it as public access. And there's a sign there now that says public access. Well, one of the people in town who originally objected to the shutting off Chickasaw was Betty Bingham. And she spoke in favor of the access, and that's what resulted in the linear park. So I proposed, I was there recently with some garden club members, and Michelle was there, and a couple of other people. Officer Debbie was there. I'm not sure why she was there, but but she was with us. And Britt from the yacht club and Cindy Martell, who's on the beautification committee, wanted to plant a tree. And they asked me my expert opinion about the native plant tree, the gumbo limbo, and where to put it. And I agree. I didn't have to say too much. It was a very pleasant meeting. And but I am recommending that you rename the linear park by proclamation the Betty Bingham Linear Park, because she has done tons, as we just saw, been involved with a garden club, been involved with lots of issues. We don't always have to agree with her, but I know her because she loves the town of Ocean Ridge. And my wife and I love the town of Ocean Ridge. And I didn't slit my wrist for that reason. That was a different reason it got slit. So I would like to have you agree, discuss it, or you could do the proclamation now. I guess the attorney would give you advice as to whether or not you could do that. So that's what I'm asking for, on behalf of everybody.
Everybody in the town.
That's right.
Well, remember, so everybody knows Betty Bingham, what the reason why she said it about the park was because she said it's the only public access to the intercoastal waterway publicly.
That's right.
And I doubted her. So her and I went on a field trip and we went and she was right. That was the only place that wasn't the Boynton Beach Inlet that you could actually get to the intercoastal waterway. And she said, remember, I don't know if you remember this, Terry, because you were around. She said, I want to be able to carry my canoe down the park. And
Instead of a kayak, a canoe.
And she said canoe, remember? Because she didn't say kayak, she said canoe. I said, Betty, I'd really like to see you carry a canoe down and around that corner. But that is the reason, you're right, exactly why she.
The town manager, Michelle, suggested that people could actually kayak there.
Yeah, so it needs some work though.
Yeah, I do. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But that's the reason why I spoke tonight.
Well, I guess what we'll do is we'll have Michelle look at it and we'll have the town attorney look at it and we'll bring it up next month.
All right, good. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you, Terry.
Boy, Betty, you're getting all the accolades tonight.
Don't listen, Terry. He turned 81 yesterday. Happy birthday, Terry.
Happy birthday, Terry.
Good evening, everyone. Carol Bessler, 5906 Old Ocean Boulevard. Congratulations early to Betty Bingham. She has been what we call the town treasure. We couldn't do half of the things we do in this town without Betty Bingham. So Betty Bingham, again, it's that time of year where Starbright will hold its second annual fundraising event at the newly reimagined Palm Beach Resort on Wednesday, March the 4th from 5 to 7. Those that attended last year had a spectacular evening of good food, some of it which was provided by Nobu, and this year's event will not disappoint. With incredible silent auction items, some of provided by our neighbors, very talented neighbors and generous neighbors.
We have a special category for sponsorship this year, which brings with it an additional hour of champagne and a fabulous thank you gift. Please consider purchasing a ticket to support vital programs promoting safety and well-being for the residents of Ocean Ridge. Invitations are in the hallway along with the QR code for anyone who would like to purchase tickets, or you can see me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment?
First and foremost, I kind of love Virginia Siggety, 33 Exora Way. I love that all the public comment tonight has been fabulous community. So to Betty, to Carol, to all of our community, to Elisa thank you for your help with the orchids. Anyway, it's just making me smile. So I just had to say that. And kind of along the same line, on a personal note, I wanted to thank everyone in this room, literally behind me and in front of me and all around, for the amazing, I would call it the best Light the Light celebration I certainly have ever attended. The activities, the vibe, the food, all were surpassed only by our fabulous neighbors who attended and made it such a wonderful night. So thank you all. It was really wonderful. Left my hat in the bag, but putting on my garden club hat, I want to then again say on behalf of the garden club, thank you to our town officials, commissioners, chief, Kelly, Michelle, everyone who, and the police department who loaned us their tents for the support of our first Deck the Palms holiday boutique. Thanks to the incredible generosity of this community, the Garden Club had its most successful fundraising event, again, in recent history. Betty, you could probably correct me, but securing the club's financial position and allowing us to provide even greater community outreach, education, and scholarships for the coming year. I'm delighted to report that our 50-50 raffle, which was only made available at Light the Lights to town members, and then later at the Garden Club's holiday party to Ocean Ridge Garden Club members who may not have already been able to buy tickets, reached a total pot of approximately $950. It was won by our very own Mark Marsh, who, for those of you who don't know, was the architect of this beautiful Dutch colonial style town hall. And when I contacted him to tell him he had won, he did the very generous thing of donating his half of the winnings back to support the programs of the Garden Club. So thank you for all of your, again, everybody's part in making this such a success. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, bringing it back to the commission. Moving on to our approval of the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Public comment? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Moving right along to our regular agenda items. Number 12. Christy, you want to take the lead on this one?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Mayor, that's all right. This is ordinance 2025-07 on second reading. As you know, this is the ordinance that was proposed at the December meeting to offer a floor area ratio bonus for property owners, private property owners, that the town requests a drainage and a utility easement from. During the discussion of ordinance, the town commission had 4 primary concerns and requests for clarification within the ordinance. The revised ordinance is provided in your backup. The 4 areas covered were a preamble to sort of provide more content and limitations on what this is really intended to do. Provide some language on what would happen with the FAR bonus in terms of the future and redevelopment of the property. Language was also added to have the town manager designee report to the town commission on the request for easements, and the initial FAR bonus maximum have been decreased. So those changes are in the revised ordinance for second reading. I have had a conversation with town manager and Commissioner Cassidy about a couple little tweaks that we want to discuss tonight. Otherwise, I'm open to any questions or concerns that you may have.
Okay, what tweaks?
First of all, I appreciate all Christie's work on this and having phone conversations and meetings and whatnot. You'll recall a month ago, I was not very favorable toward this change with the FAR incentive bonus. And part of my concerns are that yes, we are addressing a concern with one easement that we need right now quickly. And we have an uncooperative homeowner that has necessitated this whole process. And I understand the urgency. However, looking at it broadly and in the future, we don't know what kinds, and everyone can acknowledge, we don't know what the needs will be. We don't know what the unintended consequences would be. So in reading through the language and spending a lot of time on this, I think I can get comfortable with it if we make a few tweaks. And one is where everywhere where we say perpetual easement on private property for the town's necessary drainage and or utility purposes. Well, we don't own any utility, and we do have projects upcoming with FPNL burying the power lines. We don't know what that's going to look like because that's a bit out of our control. We've also been talking about the possibility of natural gas. So in order to kind of not squeeze all the toothpaste out of the tube up front, I would prefer to see the language changed to, instead of drainage and or utility purposes, if we could say drainage, water supply, or wastewater purposes, because those are the things that we right now know that we likely will need. And if we have to tweak it in the future, we can tweak it in the future to give a little more if we have to. But rather than try to take something back, if you've ever tried to reduce curfew after you extended it, it's kind of hard. So that would be my biggest, if we could get to that, that would, I think, be favorable for everybody now and in the future. The only other thing was on the reporting, where it reads that on an annual basis, the town manager shall advise the town commission the number of requests for easements. I would just like to see in advance, the town manager or designee shall advise the town commission of the requests for easements and the number of constructed single-family dwellings. I think if we could just be informed upfront, we need to know when we're asked questions by people in the community, I want to have an answer and I want to know what I'm talking about. And if someone comes to me and says, hey, I heard that someone's getting a FAR incentive because the town requested an easement and we're 4 months into the year and I knew nothing about it, that's, I think, irresponsible. And it's also kind of embarrassing, and it's not being good stewards for the residents of the community. So those are my two changes. We can tweak the language and remove the utility and just have it be about water. And if we could just get kind of ongoing notification when an easement's needed and when a FAR incentive bonus is being pursued.
So you're asking for monthly update or just an
When-
as case by
As it
case?
happens.
But
I can live with that.
currently, the way it stands, it can't happen until the town commissioner approves it.
You have a problem with being told beforehand?
No, but I just want to make sure everyone understands it can't happen. It's not something the resident brings to us. It's something we bring.
But
to
it's
the
already in play and in motion, and then it comes to the dais. So if we just have, just being told, we're not getting involved in town operations.
Well, we
We're
don't-
just being,
We are, but I'm okay with it. I don't think it's necessary, but that's fine.
I've got a question. You have some issue with utilities, and that's what water coming to us is.
we're defining-
Let me finish. That's what having a gas line coming to us is part of. And that's also part of underground electrical. Now, I realize that last one is more under the control of FPL than us, but I don't myself, I'm happy with utilities or as written. I don't want to get in
I think that,
a match here, but I think the way it was written makes sense to me.
but why was it written? If you ask yourself the question,
Well-
why was it written? It was written to address the outfall that we need on Harbor Drive North, Air Street. And we anticipate we may need more of these going forward.
Right?
And we may need them because we're doing a lot of water infrastructure, which is our water pipes. And in the future, maybe we need a sewer, and then we need to be in control of that. FPNL's got to do their own work. Gas companies going to do their own work. We don't want this is going to be, it could potentially have major unintended consequences. That's why I would like to see the language changed.
All right, well, so the basically changing it from you are including the water lines, including the drainage, basically in that. Now, the second one, I wasn't really, I understand that you wanted to notify, you want the town manager, the town attorney, or during the meeting, notify us that there are negotiations of offering this to a homeowner. Is that
Yeah.
correct? Okay, it's just the language, I wasn't really sure of the language. But that's something that Chrissy, basically it's, I wouldn't say an annual notification, but as Ainer said, as each thing comes up, which I really don't see a lot of it coming up, but if it does, the town commission is notified. And to your point, we do.
Yeah, when we talked about this in the last meeting, we said, gee, we've only done like one of these in the past and this will be two. But I guess we'd kind of want to know about it if all of a sudden there were 10 they were working on. And so it's just rather than waiting a year to get
No.
reported on, or until it comes to the commission, this way we'll know, oh, there's a bunch in the pipeline. Gee, do we care about that?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, even though we do have to approve it, but I'd rather know them prior.
Yeah.
And then
Before it
at
gets in
least
the
have an
day, yeah.
idea. I can go look at what they're talking about and look,
Sure.
research it.
So how can we make that change? What's
That's,
up?
that's.
Well, it's to make this happen because time is of the essence on this, because of the permit issue. The changes we're making now, would that affect, we can pass this ordinance tonight and move forward, can we not?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have the language, the first language I didn't have a problem with, the second one I wasn't really sure of. But it's just a language where the town commission is notified upon any request that will be going to a homeowner for this easement.
From the town. side.
Correct.
Okay.
And I just want to make sure y'all are aware, because one of the things I did add to add further sort of clarification for this is that the town can only request this when there's a documented need for the easement, and define documented need as the town has a proposed or designed drainage and or utility project which will only be reasonable viable if a perpetual easement is granted by the private property owner. So I'll change that language to make it specific to water supply, wastewater, or drainage. But there has to be a project sort of in the queue that we're showing we've got to get an easement from this individual. And it can also be in the event that we already have facilities somewhere, but we don't actually have a documented easement. And again, it might be facilities that we certainly need for permitting purposes. So, but the request would be identified in advance to the commission before it is made.
How does that work? The town manager would bring it publicly or just communicate?
I think it's going to really depend on the timing of everything and how it goes. It may be an email, maybe a public communication, but it'll be something that certainly would be readily accessible by the commission. And if needed, it could be brought to a.
So you're just using the word notification versus how we're going to notify.
No, also the ordinance itself can be amended down the
Right.
road as well.
Anytime we
So,
want to, yeah.
I mean, if something comes up with the gas or something comes up with the FPL, we can always amend the ordinance to change the language.
It's
So,
really only an
but I
issue if
mean-
all of a sudden a whole bunch of them start coming through,
Right.
and then we might say, whoa, what's going on?
Correct.
Or if you want to refine how you're receiving the information.
Well, anybody else have any discussion on it? Well, do you want to make a motion?
How should I make that motion?
I think you
would
could
say have
just
to
do a motion to approve on second reading with the two changes, refining the language regarding the type of easement. And second of all, in terms of the type of notification to the town commission.
Okay,
So do you want to move?
So moved.
yeah, so moved.
Second. I second.
All right, motion and second,
So
public comment,
And we do still
Right,
need to read it by title.
back to the commission. All those in favor signify by saying
Mr.
aye.
Chair, we do need to
What?
read it by title.
I have to read it by title.
Oh, yeah, right back in. I forgot it's an ordinance. Go ahead.
Ordinance 2025-07, an ordinance of the town of Ocean Ridge, Florida, amending its code of ordinances at chapter 64 zoning, article 1, district regulations, section 64-1, RSF and RSE, single-family residential districts by adding a new subsection 64-1J7 to incentivize property owners in the residential single-family RSF zoning district to grant public easements to the town of Ocean Ridge through a zoning bonus program, amending subsection 64-1I to update a cross-reference related to floor area for second stories, amending chapter 1, general provisions, section 1-3, definitions to clarify existing definitions for floor area total floor area ratio, and lot area, and providing for codification, severability, conflicts, and an effective date.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. All right, moving on to number 13, approve the selection committee's recommendations for RFQ 2025-001 that describes the engineering services and authorize staff to proceed with negotiations in accordance with section 287.055 Florida statutes. Michelle.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. So as you know, this is for RFQ 2025-001, the continuing contracts for professional services, also known as the RFQ for our next town engineer. So your selection committee met actually 3 times to go through the process to review the 12 firms that answered the RFQ and narrowed it down to a short list of 6. Of the short list of 6, first of all, we were very pleased with the response and the amount of talent that was brought before us. And the presentations were very, very, very solid. From that committee, your selection committee recommends for the anchor firm, meaning your main town engineer, Craig A. Smith and Associates. That's the firm that we would like to make a recommendation for. And additionally, we had a chance to see CHA Consulting, Pannoni Associates, CPZ Architects, West Architecture and Design, and Florida Technical Consultants, each one of them in their own separate categories or specialties, if you will. And what our selection committee would like to ask the commission is to allow us to get into negotiations for contracts with everyone. So we'll have our anchor that we will use for the day-to-day, and that'll be your main town engineer. And then the others with specialties, if you will be able to have the RFQ already accomplished and keep them on contract for continuing services and use them in the future as necessary. And that's what the recommendation is, and I've written your motion accordingly.
All right. Any questions for Michelle?
Michelle, how many projects are in flight that the current town engineer will still be working on, or are they all done?
You know, the town engineer currently works day to day on all of the permitting process for, say, drainages for single family homes. That's going to be the heaviest turnover because those are the projects that will be immediate and residents are waiting. I see that as being probably the one that we'll just be juggling as we get up to February 3rd, and then we'll carry it forward after that.
So that'll
The
be,
big
that'll be an
projects,
easy handoff.
That's an easy handoff, but it's a juggle. The big projects are the ones that you know of, which are drainage projects. And that firm is already contracted as our design firm, so you will still see them as part of our design conversations, and the presentations continue to come back. So you're not going to see that firm go away anytime soon.
Okay, so it's not like the new one steps into their shoes for those existing contracts. They'll just take over new.
Right, and they'll take over the new contracts, and they'll take over the next steps when that
Okay.
current engineering
Next
firm
phase.
moves on. Yeah,
Got it.
exactly.
So there's no retainers involved in this. It's all,
Exactly. So there's no financial impact at this point. I do believe that there's somebody from Smith and Associates, if you wanted to say hello, just in case you wanted to. But I'm not done answering the questions yet of the commission.
Yes,
Yes,
in a
ma'am.
second.
Yes, ma'am.
So how does the cost structure compare to what we had before?
We're not there yet. So
Okay.
this portion is really you approving the selection committee selection
Okay.
and allowing us to move forward with negotiations.
Okay,
that's
and then
next.
as Steve asked, keeping the others as consultants, we're not paying them an annual fee for that. We're just paying them as needed.
Correct.
Okay.
Like, they will have to provide task orders. We would have to give a scope of work. It would be a process.
Okay.
But upfront, the next steps would be to contract with them, and they would have to provide their fee structure.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have any questions for
That's a
the
good answer.
engineer?
as long as the gentleman's coming.
Sure.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
well, come on up.
Yeah. Once-
Well, maybe he doesn't want to have it. You gotta sit there and say, thank you.
Well, that's the guy that talked to us. Like,
Yeah, that's the guy who's on the board.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Steve Smith with Craig A. Smith and Associates. I've been with the firm since it started in 1980. Actually worked for the firm prior to that firm. So I've been around for a few years. I know I don't look that old, but And we are super excited, just so you guys know, the process has gone very smoothly. And we're just thrilled. We actually, we've been doing this a long time, and we have a lot of experienced guys that have been with us for many years, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 years. So we've been at this a really long time, working with towns such as the town of Ocean Ridge, up and down the coast. And we are intimately familiar with your challenges, put it that way. And so interesting you were talking about the prior item on the agenda, because we certainly have worked with in each town in some way, shape or form to deal with these issues of, okay, we need an easement and what is it, you know, and the only thing I would recommend on that, I didn't say anything, but you know, hey, when, you know, considering town-owned facilities type of thing, right? So you're not necessarily concerned about some of the others you may be at some point in time, but put in there town-owned facility because you actually own your pipelines, right? You don't own FPL, you don't own gas, whatever. But at any rate, so we're very accustomed to working with towns of this size and the types of challenges that you're faced with, you know, sea level rise, so on and so forth. That we're.
Where are you guys located?
We're in Deerfield Beach. Is the folks that actually are going to be assigned to the town of Ocean Ridge. The majority of them are in Deerfield Beach. Two of them live in Boynton Beach. So, you know, we're close. And then we have our other offices up in Riviera Beach. We also work for Riviera Beach, but so we're local. We've always been local and we will be local. So.
I just had one question. Are you second generation Smith into the Smith firm?
I am. My father, Craig, started the firm. I started working as a surveyor when I was 15 years old, and that's why
Yeah,
it's been
good
so
for you
many
guys.
years. So, but yeah, third generation is not going to happen, but I'll tell you. Neither one of my kids wanted to go the engineering route. They said, "No, see what you do. We're not interested."
Where did
But-
you study?
I went to Auburn University, Alabama, so don't hold that against me. Oriole, thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Smith?
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Well, it's great to meet you all.
Thank you for
Look forward to
coming.
working with you going forward, and we'll go through our negotiations with you guys and look forward to it. Okay.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, may I take the opportunity to have Keith Weber from Boynton Beach come up so I can formally thank him for being our subject matter expert? You want-
Absolutely.
If it's okay with the
Yeah.
mayor. So Keith, as many people in the audience already know, he's number 2 in the utilities department in Boynton Beach. And so our relationship with Boynton Beach, the city of Boynton Beach, has been really strong, from the city manager's office to the fire department and also specifically the utilities department. But Keith sat on our selection committee and was a very strong voice of reason to make sure that we understood exactly what we should be looking at as we were going through the process with each one of these engineering firms. So thank you.
You're the one we got to
Thank you.
blame if it goes south.
You can blame me.
Hey, we're coming over, right?
Yeah. But no, I'd like to, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. I'd like to congratulate you on the firms that you are moving forward with negotiations. All the firms are extremely experienced. It's a great group of firms. I think you'll be very pleased with the group. Michelle, there is one change that I recommend based on the resolution that you're passing. Under Pinoni, it says town engineering services and civil water. Civil water is supposed to be striked. So I would
Thank you,
recommend
sir.
striking that
My
before
subject
moving this
matter
forward.
expert.
But other than that, it's a great group of architects, great group for updating your GIS. CHA is a great firm for using board transportation, and Craig A. Smith, I can't speak highly enough for them. They use, Boynton Beach uses them more through survey services, but I know a lot of municipalities that use them, and I only hear great things, and I look forward to working with them as well. So congratulations on the firms that you're moving forward with.
Thanks
So we
for
appreciate you
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
helping us out.
Yeah, he's like an
Have a great evening.
extension of our staff, our team. and he doesn't get paid by us, so it's really nice.
Great.
Well, that's even better.
See if you can
I
find
might
more.
have to buy him lunch real quick. That's up to
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. Come on up.
Just so you all know too, just one more thing. I've worked over the years with CHA, which used to be A&P. Know those guys pretty well. And FTC, we work with all the time. They are actually we're doing quite a few vulnerability assessments right now. And they handle the GIS component for that. So they do a super job. They got a great staff. And then I know our survey group was mentioned. We also have a utility locates group. Just so you know, we day in, day out, and we have about 20 utility locators that run all over South Florida. We have contracts with City of West Palm Beach County, so on and so forth. We do one call locates for all of them, but we also do private locates for the communities that we work for, wherever needed, so that your facility stays safe. Obviously, it's state statute, state law that you make sure that your facilities are protected. And so if your staff doesn't have, if you don't have all the staff, and you need us to help, we're happy to do that as well. So just want to make you aware of that.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Last comment I'll make on this item, just as an FYI, it's a great 4 hours. If you have 4 hours to watch the presentations, it's available online. So I'm sure one day Mr. Brown will come up and make comment about it after he's watched it for 4 hours. But it is great. But one of the things to really point out is with Florida Technical Associate Consultants, they're doing our GIS, and they actually did the original GIS for us. And so the cost is going to go way down because they have all of the original information and just need to update.
Do you know when they
So
did it?
we're- Yeah, in 2014. Well, that was the last time it was updated, was 2014 is what he said during the presentation. And he gave us a demonstration of dashboard that we'll be able to bring to our website in the very near future. So I know that you're excited about that. And I'll thank Commissioner Cassidy for being in the audience as well as a civil engineer. I know I felt comfortable that she was watching and making sure that the information was solid as well.
Part of it, I missed your presentation. Sorry.
Well, he was last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it, sir.
Any more questions for Michelle? Did someone make a motion?
Sure. I move to approve the recommended firms as memorialized and authorize staff to enter into negotiations and contracts.
Second.
Motion and second, public comment.
No.
Brown Harbor Drive South. I know that Michelle was expecting comments. I went through this material and as my wife graciously points out, I'm an old guy now. I've been retired from state government for 20 years doing this sort of selection and purchasing. But this town manager you have is fantastic. That is a fantastic result, and it opens up your eyes and your brains to what's out there. And you're not stuck on one thing day in and day out. So congratulations to her. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, back to the commission. Any other commission discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to 14, short-term rental discussion. Christie?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Short-term rentals. The town of Ocean Ridge currently has in its code a prohibition against short-term rentals, anything that's less than 30 days. Fortunately for the town, that was adopted prior to the state preemption of this area. So for cities that don't have that prohibition in their code or didn't timely adopt a prohibition, they cannot prohibit short-term rentals in their communities. They have to allow them anywhere there's a residential use. Furthermore, they cannot create regulations to limit the duration or the frequency of vacation rentals. So if the town wants to maintain its prohibition against short-term rentals, the issue really is one of enforcement. If the town has any consideration for wanting to remove the prohibition, I would advise you against it as you are very limited in what you can do and what you can regulate. So that's the status of state law on short-term rentals. You're very fortunate that you're in a position that you can just prohibit them, but the issue is always enforcement. And how you enforce these things can be time intensive because you're relying on facts and evidence to establish a short-term rental.
So we have to demonstrate that we have been enforcing. Is that what you're worried about?
No. I'm sorry if I wasn't clear. What typically happens when usually it's the town clerk that gets notified that someone has a neighbor that they believe has a short-term rental. The clerk then can start a code enforcement case against that property. Usually the first step is to send the property owner a letter that says, we've heard there may be a short-term rental going on there, and sometimes staff, if they have time, will do additional research online to see if they're listed with a listing service that shows that they're rented for less than 30 days. So then we'll have additional backup information to send to the property owner to say, this violates town code, please stop doing this. In some instances, we see that they immediately correct their ad so that their ad says it has to be a rental of at least 30 days or more. In that case, sort of the town's investigation comes to a screeching halt because technically they're in compliance unless we have other evidence of the property owner having more frequent rentals. But as you can imagine, that's a very hard thing to prove because now we're going to have someone sit outside the house. We're going to have the neighbor come testify. Often neighbors don't want to come testify against their neighbors. So a lot of times enforcement is a difficult issue. And without having a dedicated code enforcement official for the town who could dedicate that kind of time to investigating these things, that's where you kind of run up to against a brick wall with enforcement of vacation rentals.
And how prevalent is this issue? Chief?
You
Have we
shut
had a
down.
complaint recently?
Yeah, 15 Hersey. You shut it down. 15 Hersey. Remember the sailfish guy behind him? Yeah. Oh, you do.
One idea is that the short-term rentals, they don't know the trash schedule. So
that
when you
drives me-
see recycling out for an entire weekend and attempts to contact the owner, nothing happens. Maybe we just greatly increase the summons for people who have their garbage out when it's not supposed to be.
Well, that
I mean,
is something that the chief does, that our guys are looking at for, the garbage can cannot be out there after. One day it can be out there before the trash day, but not after. They need to bring it back in.
5 PM.
And when the guys are looking at that, because I have to pull my neighbor's trash can in probably once a month, because he's part-time. And I don't want him getting a little sticker on his window from the front of his house. But even that being said, though, it's something that the town should not tolerate. Your garbage cans will be out in the beginning before the day, and then afterwards, they need to be brought in. It's common courtesy for the rest of the town. So you guys are on that, right? Now, I know we kind of went past the what's his name, but in the past, though, we've had complaints regarding 30-day rentals.
Sure.
And it was the police department that actually did the investigating, looked up online and did that stuff.
The renters told them, your relative, don't tell them anything. Ready for 30.
Right, but it's not, it's,
But we've made some cases.
but I call it the hassle factor. That's really what it comes down to. The police department's there, they go there, we got another complaint, they got another complaint. By that time, those people who are actually staying there under 30 days, they don't want to be all of a sudden every other day, the police department's knocking on the front door.
Is there a requirement that they disclose if they have a short-term rental that's 30 days or whatever? Do they have to tell us about it or no?
No.
The
You're
register,
supposed to register as a
Mhm.
rental registration.
right, just the
There is
rental
rental
registration, doesn't say anything.
That
about
just
it.
means we rent. It doesn't say
Correct.
how often.
But we're hiring the code enforcement guy. Maybe that could be moved up on his priority list.
Yeah, no problem. In the last couple of months, we've been dealing with it accordingly and it's been working.
It's been working.
And I think that may be also why you hear more about it because
We're doing something about
We're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I would think you could scan Airbnb and VRBO and just see if there are people that are placing.
yeah, there's so many sites now. What they do is they jump from one
That's right.
app to the other app.
Yeah.
But you guys have
been
been
doing
doing a
it,
great
yeah.
job.
I'm sure some
Yeah.
people
Try.
By the way, I think the commission, and hopefully you'll remember this, we should pat ourselves on the back. Because one thing Christie said rang a bell with me. We specifically moved forward quickly on the 30-day rental because we knew that this was coming. So we had it locked down before, there was a specific date you had to have it locked down by, and we did lock it down. Yeah,
That was a very important move.
yeah.
All right, so that's good. Thank you for the report.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
And then we're definitely not changing.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the staff and committee reports. Michelle?
Okay, so I gave you a report for your light reading in the packet, and that's not really what I want to talk about. I want to give you a quick update, just briefly about the potential changes that may be happening with our partner there at the city of Boynton Beach. So there's two different arms of service that we utilize with the city of Boynton Beach that are super important. One, as we discussed, is the utilities department, and another, of course, is our fire department. The fire chief was going to be here tonight, and he texted me and said that there's an emergency going on and he had to be at. So he sends his apologies. The short version of this story is that the city of Boynton Beach is really exploring options. And they're exploring options with what it may look like if Palm Beach County steps in and takes over their utilities department. And then simultaneously, Palm Beach County Fire Rescue is in conversations with City of Boynton Beach Fire Rescue to potentially not merge, but Palm Beach County to come in and take over, as we are seeing throughout Palm Beach County in many circumstances. And so those two things are out there. We are cognizant of it, and we are in communications with everyone. And there's no concern for level of service. I would say that to you. I think we would be fine from a level of service standpoint. But understanding that sometimes change means a change in cost as well. And so we're watching out for that, which is one of the reasons that we're moving forward with potentially renegotiating the contract for fire services early. And here with our partner at the utilities, we're just continuing to understand what that process looks like. So we are not in a position to have a lot of influence. It's just an FYI.
Christie, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Christie, would our existing contracts survive such a change?
The fire rescue, I believe, is good through September 30th of 2028. In order for that to be terminated, either party can terminate that. It has to be at least a year's notice. I say at least because it's geared towards always ending September 30th. The water contract is sort of a similar analysis. Neither contract has an assignability clause that would prohibit it being assigned. Typically, fire rescue with Palm Beach County for municipalities is provided through the MSTU. They do have some direct contracts, but it's typically the MSTU. So there is a scenario where Palm Beach County could become the provider through Boynton's contract. Obviously, you're talking about a change in some of the services, and as Michelle mentioned, potentially a change in cost, up or down. I don't know, it's too early to tell. But those types of changes would probably necessitate further negotiations if the town were interested in staying with Boynton and then moving to Palm Beach County for either type of service or both. Bottom line is it'd probably be part of the negotiation that town would have to engage in the future.
Thank you.
I'm going to hand this to
Michelle?
you. I sent this to you via email, but wanted to print it out too as well. That is not my presentation. That is a presentation that was created and delivered to Palm Beach County Board of County Commissioners, created by their staff. And it's regarding the potential Boynton Beach Utilities acquisition. And so in there, the most important page, I think, based on Commissioner Ala's question to me during the week was, what's the timeline look like? And so where I have it highlighted with the
I'm just
sticky
curious
there,
why
showed
the
you
city of
that
Boynton Beach would give voice, try to get rid of such an asset as a utility.
I won't speak on their behalf, but I was surprised as well. Yeah.
Sounds like it has something to do with annexation.
He would know the answer.
No, we can't call, that would be a
Yeah,
bad,
yeah,
in bad form. Yeah. I'll protect you from that. The, so, yeah, first of all, let me just tell you the way I found out about it on the utilities piece, the Coastal Star called me, reached out to me and asked me for a comment on it. And I said, I have no idea what you're talking about. This was last year already, probably before the holidays. And that initiated a phone call over and really it's made my relationship with the city of Boynton Beach closer and tighter because it enabled us to really connect a little deeper. But yeah, so the city manager, the story is the city manager, smart man, was in front of the Board of County Commissioners for Palm Beach County. And they were talking about annexations and, the methodology exists out there for cities to be able to annex. Probably the easiest methodology is through their utilities department offering water services and sewer services potentially. And so they were moving in that direction. And I think his quote was something like, well, the Board of County Commission wanted them to not continue to annex out west. And his quote was something like, well, short of you owning my utilities, we're going to continue to pursue what we legally can. That's not an exact quote, just to make sure but that was the essence of what he said. And that initiated a conversation. And so now that conversation has turned into consultants on both sides and they're really looking at it now.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else?
That is it. That is just informational, but I will, let me just, turn it over to the chief. I'll turn it over to you. We had that arranged.
Well, wait, we're gonna get the town attorney first.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have a report tonight.
All right. Is there, you want to get to that football game later on? Yeah.
Darn right.
All right. Chief, your turn.
Yeah, my report's in your packet. If you have any questions, be happy to answer. I know they stopped 449 cars, so their traffic enforcement is up. I'd say double, triple from 3 years ago. And crime is down. We still are getting the fraud reports. I know I get them on my work phone about my small business loan. I didn't know I took one out. I get like 3 a day. But fraud is prevalent and, that's all crime is down, so I can't, they're doing a good job. And,
Well, leadership
this
comes from the
Thursday,
top.
I'll be, this Thursday, I'll be, honored by and sworn in by Judge Marks as Vice President.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chief.
Before you wrap it up.
Yeah.
Wanted to thank the chief and the police department for all of your vigilance over the holiday time when the deliveries were coming through and we had some issues with speeding. And you really jumped in with your crew and made sure that I don't want to take it away from you, but I know that you were talking about speed bumps and with people and also just reducing speeding through your mechanisms.
Our portable radar sign out at new locations are older than person a week at a time. And you notice the speeds weren't out of control. They were in the teens, 20s. Very rarely did you get any cars into the 30-mile-an-hour range, but when you know that on Old Ocean, 13 miles an hour is just a suggestion. We can't enforce it, but if 25 and 30 is the maximum on a side street and 20 is the lowest, it has to be posted for us to enforce it now. But they, like I said, their enforcement efforts have been up on their stop signs, pedestrians, right turn, red, just general traffic. It's really fun.
And at my meeting with the town manager and town clerk, I think, did you get a chance to talk to the chief about drivers, delivery people?
We did.
So you successfully reached out to Amazon when they were coming at 3 a.m. and people were
FedEx.
with no uniforms, right?
Mhm.
So we have a connection into these various delivery service. Well, you guys did it before though.
Yeah.
So because the complaints on the speed, the need for speed bumps and the traffic controlling devices, really came down to delivery personnel. So if we could repeat that exercise, even though it might take a bit. Right.
Okay, anything else for the chief? Well, thank you, chief, for doing such a great job with the guys and ladies back there. All right, moving on to the fire chief.
You know, the,
Just not saying that facetiously.
maybe he knows the answer to the water boat,
No, we don't want to, put him in trouble.
the firefighting water boat. That's what I'm asking.
Oh, he's said he'd call me as soon as he's ready.
The chief last time said he was gonna miss the parade, so I was hoping maybe January.
All right, so any other commissioner comments? I just want to say, I hope this year is as good a year as we had last year, and I really believe it is because we've got the people here. And this commission does such a great job, and what's missing in this commission is ego. And that's what makes it so great. I just want to say thank you, all you guys. I'm looking forward to a new year, and let's face it, the town gave us a vote of confidence when we don't even have to have an election. So just want to say thank you for the town and looking forward to 2026.
And well
Right.
done on the ordinance.
What's that?
One of the reasons I love working here is watching you all work. That ordinance is a great example. You shared information, what your last meeting, you came together and you really shared more information this time and you nailed it. So thank you very much for that. I really enjoy watching you all work it through.
Well, thank you, Michelle. But thank you, everyone, for coming. We'll see you in February.
Well done.
Happy Valentine's Day. Early
Yeah.
February. Not so late.